From telecom, let's move on to the economy now. With the overall tax GDP ratio falling last fiscal, the government's revenues are actually contracting instead of growing. This in turn is putting constraints on the government's social obligations.
Decline in the tax to GDP ratio is giving tax collectors and the government sleepless nights these days. The fall in the ratio of customs and excise duty collection to GDP has resulted in an overall decline of tax GDP ratio from an average of 9.32% during the 8th plan to 9.17% in 2003-2004. Corporate and income tax collections, on the other hand, witnessed improvement relative to GDP during the period. To improve the situation, government feels that simplicity in the tax assessment system could go a long way. Meanwhile, the experts feel that the problem could be contained if it is addressed at the grassroots level, that is at the level of data collection. The tax collected by the government is used to create infrastructure and meet its social obligations. Tax collections, which should grow with growth of GDP, is stagnated. If the situation does not improve, we might face problems in maintaining our growth trajectory. Nitesh Mishra, DD News, Delhi.
And for more on this topic, I am joined in the studio by taxation expert Mr. Ved Jain. Mr. Jain, a warm welcome to the studios of Doordarshan. We have seen in the 80s that the tax GDP ratio was above 10%, and over the years it has come down and to below 10% now, and we all know and acknowledge the fact that it's one of the most lowest in the whole world as such. So doesn't it adversely impact the social spending, the capability of the government as such?
It does affect this. If the tax is more as compared to the GDP, of course the government spending will be higher. But we need to keep in mind that India is a developing country. In a developed country, as the income grows, the capacity to pay tax increases. In India, the large population base, which is living much below the poverty line, they can't contribute to the tax exchequer. So that's why our tax GDP ratio is low. But I think I will need to say that 2004-2005, we have again entered 10.17. We have again improved upon the ratios. And hopefully, I think the way the Indian economy is growing, that this tax GDP ratio will come up.
Yeah, but as far as the compliance is concerned, as far as collections, recovery is concerned, we all acknowledge that maybe there are many loopholes in it. As far as the Income Tax Act is concerned, it's more than sufficient. But as far as the implementation, the collection part is concerned, there are lacunae, and probably there's a need for strict compliance and stricter penal action.
See, there can't be two opinions on that second aspect. That there should be strict compliance and there should be strict penal action. That there can't be two opinions on there. But we need to keep in mind, I think, the basic fact that India is a developing country and we cannot compare our tax GDP ratio or the collection what we have in other countries of it. Okay. I can just give you an example. See, in America, we have more than 40% taxpayers. Okay. The reason being that their per capita income is somewhere $31,000. Okay. And the minimum income, which is not liable for taxation, is around $7,000. Now, if we apply that per capita base, then every American should be a taxpayer. Okay. As compared to this, in India, our average per capita income, which has recently grown up, say, going around 28,000 rupees. Now, the basic income, which is not liable for taxation, is now 1 lakh rupees. If the income distribution is equal, you will not find even a single taxpayer. But still, we have more than 10 millions.
Yeah, no, but
30 millions.
But Mr. Jain, the thing is, like in a country which has a population of more than 120 crore people, hardly 3 crore people pay taxes.
There are reasons for it.
So shouldn't that number increase?
I agree, fully agree that there should be an increase, and there are a large number of people who are not filing tax returns, which are supposed to file the returns. There is no two opinion on that issues. But we need not compare with other countries. Okay. If I can give the tax GDP ratio, which we are talking about right now, see, there is a huge variation between Sweden and US. The Sweden, the tax GDP ratio is more than 50%, where in the US it is around 25%. So there can be an issue in US why tax GDP ratio is just half of the what in Sweden. But Sweden is a more developed country, and the people's earning per capita is too high that whatever they are earn more, that part of that, a large chunk of that goes to the tax. But as you earn more, the capacity to pay tax increases.
That's right. But Mr. Jain, like Mr. Chidambaram is always struggling to find ways and means of how to improve the ratio as such, and how to bring more people under the tax net. Agriculture, no doubt, it's a very politically sensitive area. It's contentious. But despite that, like in agriculture, there are rich farmers who are earning in lakhs of rupees but not paying 1 rupee as tax. So shouldn't shouldn't those people, I'm not talking about the whole agriculture sector as such, but only those people who are above a certain threshold, who are rich farmers, who are having farmhouses, palatial farmhouses and earning income from them, shouldn't they come under the tax net?
I will agree with you this aspect that those people who are earning and are having higher income, they must contribute to the exchequer and they must pay their taxes. But there is a larger issue. Tax is basically a cost of civilization, meaning thereby it is required to run the society. The pros and cons of both need to be tested, whether it is really required or not. When we say that India is a developing country and there is a large number of people that are living below the poverty line, who are those people? These people are by and large the agriculturists which are not able to earn that much of income that they can contribute to the exchequer. But definitely those agriculturists and those people who are having large farmhouses and they are earning a lot of income from this agriculture activity, they need to pay tax. And that's why that we have been suggesting it that all farmhouses, all these income for agriculturists and corporate farmhouses, they should be taken care of, because in that way we can bring those people to tax net. But as you agree rightly, this is a very political sensitive issue.
That's right. Mr. Jain, thank you so much for coming to our studios and sharing your opinion with us. Hopefully the tax GDP ratio will go up and Mr. Chidambaram will take cognizance of all the facts which you mentioned.
Thank you. Thank you, Patna.
Thank you so much. Well, let's move on to the Forex market.